welcome to Andy's Workbench. I'm extremely excited to share with you today my next project. Just got in the mail this box from Classic Audio Products Inc. I've been looking forward to building these modules for a year now, and finally pushed the button on the project. And we're going to go through in the next couple episodes a couple of really cool builds. Let's unbox this guy and see what we got. Oh yeah, paper. All right. Oh yeah, a lot of parts. All right, LC25, LC40, op amp, LC25 or LC40, op amp, gummy bears, crucial. More parts of the op amp kit, main PCB, the VP25. Oh yeah, transformer. That's like PCB. Oh yeah, transformer. Face plates. All right. So we're going to need to go through and pull the parts out. If you haven't guessed by now, what we're building is VP25 with the Litz transformer. That's a mic pre from CAPI. And the LC40 with the Litz transformer, which is an EQ. Real excited to see how this works out. Be right with you. All right, so what I like to do first is kind of just lay out the parts and organize them and kind of put them in groups so we know what we're looking for when we go to reach for it. I think that's critical. It saves a lot of time during the build, and if you have everything laid out that's comfortable for you, then you see it, you find it, you put it in, you move on. Makes the project go a lot smoother. So let's see what we can do. All right, so we have our faceplates. We'll save that for later. Circuit boards. Yes, with our frame. We'll start with that. We know we'll need that right away. What they did do was they did give me a package of VP25. We're going to do the VP25 first, and then we're going to do the LC40 later. So we're going to put those LC40 kits aside. And then we have another parts. Yeah, these are definitely the dials for the LC40. We'll put that aside. Op amp kits. 2 op amp kits. 1 for later. LC40. That's for later. LC25 or LC40 switch. All right. And discrete op amp DT05. So, well, we'll see what that's needed for. And that one's for the LC40. And this guy, don't know. Put that aside. This guy, let's find out what this is. All right, got another dial. Cool. Possibly a gain control knob. Probably 1 for each build. Keep that aside. Excellent. And then 2 transformers. Oh yeah. These must be Litz. Oh yeah, look at this. Beautiful. Nice. We'll keep those aside. That'll be towards the end of the build. And then op amp aside. Excellent. Let's take a look at our circuit boards. Find out which one is which. All right. Well, this one, just by telling you, is probably for the LC40 because it's got a lot of places for knobs. All right. Thinking this is for the mic pre. This is for the EQ. Why do I say that? Well, the mic pre has a variable gain, and these are gain resistors right there. these guys. Yeah. These guys are the frames. There we go. Oh, beautiful. And yep, you can definitely tell which one's which for these guys. Again, like pre, EQ. And what I like to do is put those extra parts that we're not going to be using right away back in the box. Back in the books. We won't lose them. Hate losing parts. Let's do the same thing for the circuit board here. Nice. Alright, so got our top, got our bottom. Let's mount this guy right up. And our top. And our resistors, our list. Bags within bags. Alright. Got your resistors. Got your gain switch resistor set. Got your knob. Got your other knob. Got a wrench. Oh, cool. Got some buttons. And some blue dots. Check that out. Oh yeah. Okay, got your capacitors. You got your buttons. Phantom switch. Bypass switch. Probably phantom switch. Mounting brackets. Mounting hardware. Seems pretty straightforward so far. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our overlay and make sure that we actually got the right board. And yes, if you simply turn this sucker on its side like that, you will see it's the right board. Matches up with that guy. Always make sure you got the right revision. This one is Rev C. That's what we're looking at. All right. Schematic, resistor codes. Man, they really do a nice job laying out their instructions for you. So, with the advantage of a multimeter, it's super easy to organize your parts. All right, so we're going to kick this build into high gear now and start putting the parts on the boards. So we're going to install the resistors for the gain reduction circuitry. And then once I insert it, I'll bend the leads out so you can just solder it from the back side without them falling out. Huge. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're laying the parts out, specifically the resistors onto your PC board, keep the stripes, the numbers, the multipliers in the same direction. So when you need to diagnose any issues, it's easy to read. Next up are the capacitors. Thing to note about the capacitors, you want to turn down the heat a little bit so that way you don't fry any components before you actually start to use them.
I'm always checking the board for any kind of bridges that might happen with the solder and making sure that no leads are touching the way they're not supposed to, and then I clean it. And next up are the push button switches. So a neat trick is you put a little tape over the switches to hold it against the board so you can flip it over and then solder it. And then what I also like to do is do the reverse corners. So one on each opposite corner, and tack it down and make sure that the switches are flush. And then always check your work. And now we're adding the button covers. Pretty easy. And here we're going to start with the standoffs on the L bracket and start mounting the board to its chassis. But before we do that, we're going to install the stepped gain selector switch. Again, put a little tape over the circuit board, flip it over, tack it down. And now we're going to start the installation of the light diode. This is interesting because you bend it, you measure it, you actually wait till you mount the faceplate on, get the exact measurement, and then tack it in later. Here comes the attenuator switch. We're just going to drop that in. And again, this gets lightly tacked in, just placed until we put the faceplate on. And then you actually have to solder it from the top, go back, and then hit it from the bottom after you get the faceplate positioned. So you want to align the faceplate and then clamp it into position. And that way everything is set when you tack things down. And here we're also going to hit the gain attenuator switch from the top, just on 2 angles to keep it in place. And now we're taking off the faceplate, taking it out of the cage, and we'll finish up the soldering from the rear. Next up is the 2622 transformer. And again, same tactic, we're gonna pop it in there. One of the things we're gonna do is we're gonna put a piece of electrical tape, build up a little bit. We're gonna put the adhesive against the circuit board and build it up about maybe 1/8 of an inch off the circuit board. And then we're gonna pop it in and then put a piece of tape across the front, flip it over, and solder it to the back. And now we're going to drop in the Litz transformer. You've got to follow the wiring diagram specifically for this transformer and kind of cross-reference. Cut to fit the leads, one at a time, and solder it up. And now we're going to start dropping in the leads for the fan power switch. Again, we'll position the leads prior to fitting the actual switch onto the faceplate. It's a simple 2-conductor switch, and they even include a wrench. Now let's move on to the knobs. Put on the dots, then line them up on the faceplate.
All right, welcome back. Another day, another op amp. Let's get to it.
I really did enjoy building this op amp. I know it's a small part. I took my time. There's a lot of components and a little bit of space, but I really liked the way it turned out. You just have to take your time and really be meticulous with soldering and placing the components. I do love this technique of mounting the resistors on their side and doing a loop across the top. It's a great space-saving technique, and it sure looks really cool when you got a lot of components side by side. And now we're moving on to dropping the transistors in. And again, you want to turn the heat down just a little bit so you don't fry these components. And now we're going to put in the mounting posts to attach it to the main PCB board.
And now we have a full assembled mic pre.
I really enjoyed building this mic pre with you guys. I have a lot of great stuff coming up in the future, and I can't wait to share it with you. Click subscribe and join Andy's Workbench. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for doing this build with me, and I hope to see you soon.